Have you ever seen a news report or read a news article and thought to yourself that maybe it was leaning onto one side or that the news reporters took out one key aspect from the story? Well, here's an example of media bias. Donald Trump prefers a steak well done, aka the worst possible way. Or, US mistakenly bombs allies in Syria, killing 18. Now, can someone tell me how you mistakenly bomb another country? Many of you have probably heard in some points of your lives about how the media twists news, and the media has been twisting news for a while now. As a teenager, I've seen some cases where the media has twisted news. The media delivers every recent update to us in seconds. So a study done by MIT suggests that fake news spreads significantly farther, faster, and deeper, and more broadly than the truth. And a study done by Stanford University says that students have difficulty differentiating between news content and advertising content, and most of them lacked an understanding of how biased perspectives affect news and other information messages. These studies were done to show that there's a lot of people who fake stories out there, and not everyone is who they're told to be. So what is media bias? Well, there are some types of media bias, and the first one being bias by omission. This is where the news reporters take out one key aspect from the story. For example, ABC, NBC, and CBS News can only talk about the positives of Obama, but they're leaving out the negatives of him. Now, I'm not saying that Obama is bad, I'm just showing an example of media bias. Another one is bias by selection of sources. Now, this is a very popular one, as this is where the people say stuff like, experts believe, or most people believe, or observers say. They don't give you any actual details who their sources are, and this can really trick their audience. Here's an example of bias by selection of sources. Bias by story selection. This is where the news reporters only choose the stories that agree with the agenda and leave out the ones that don't. For example, Obama and Hillary's lies 2 weeks before the 2012 re-election were only covered by Fox News, but MSNBC, ABC News, NBC News, CBS News, and CNN only covered this story after the re-election. Coincidence? I think not. Bias by story placement. This is where they allocate stories from most important to least important. They don't know who wants the story first. So if someone is waiting for the least important story, then it's going to make them panic more and cause them to worry. An example of media bias is from the famous President of the United States, Donald Trump. In one of his press conferences, he said, "Russia, if you're listening, I hope you're able to find 30,000 emails that are missing." This was a very sarcastic comment, but the media took this completely out of context. They thought that he was actually asking Russians to hack Hillary Clinton. Another one is from a famous YouTuber, PewDiePie, who has over 90 million subscribers right now on YouTube. He was called out to be anti-Semitic, not because he produced anti-Semitic content, but because he shouted out another channel that produced anti-Semitic content. This was a hard hit on PewDiePie's career, and he tackled the problem by going to the news outlet and telling them that my words were taken out of context. So, what are some ways to find out media biases? Is it a trusted source? Is there a lack of context? Does the headline match the story? Whose point of view is it reported from? Many of you would have probably noticed that my story was also biased and how I was leading on to supporting Donald Trump. It's not because I prefer anyone more. I'm just showing you how media bias can affect a lot of people. Thank you.